What's going on, everybody? This is Reaper, and I am back with another video. Alright, well, thanks so much, everybody, for the actual support and the actual audience. I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody watching my stuff. I appreciate that, too. Today we're going to talk about Xbox and the next generation and what it means for the PC hybrid console that Microsoft is now preparing with the support of Windows and AMD. Now, I personally have known about this situation for a long ass time. I tried telling Zaire and, all the broadband bullies about this stuff a long time ago, but they did not believe me. So, here we go again. But the next Xbox is indeed going to be supported by Microsoft and AMD. And it is actually going to be an actual support of Windows as well, because Windows is the iOS that they're using for the console to factor in the multiple storefronts. So the fun factor will be is that it will have Epic Store, it will have Steam, it will have Xbox Game Pass, and you can even play PlayStation games on it through the Steam Store. So there you go. And that just solidifies the unification of both Microsoft and Sony, and how Microsoft is now catering to Sony and basically giving them all free games to actually support on their side of the tracks, which is what originally Phil wanted to do in the beginning anyway. So I personally support this decision full 100%. Let Microsoft be multi-platform, multi-device, multi-iOS. Let's do this. And let's have some fun looking forward towards the future of gaming as it is today. But I got to admit that, having this news come out in 2025 is actually kind of insane, because I didn't expect this news till 2030. But you know what? We'll see this by 2027, so that's actually a pretty good thing. So that's actually a really good start to the future. And I got to admit that, I'm excited, because that way I'll be able to play all my PC games. I'll be able to play new games. I'll be able to play my old games. I'll be able to play my entire library, and I will actually have new libraries to enjoy. So that is actually going to be a fun factor of the next console. Now, with the Asus ROG Xbox Ally, I got to admit that I was impressed, but I don't know whether or not I'm going to get one, because it just depends on the price. But I will definitely get the PC hybrid, so I will definitely get the Xbox AMD console that comes next, and I will actually enjoy the living crap out of it, because it's going to be my dream unification device. So I cannot wait. But at the end of the day, I think that everybody's a little bit salty, especially on the pony tracks, about how PlayStation is getting all Xbox games, and Xbox games and PlayStation games aren't selling that well on Xbox. And I'm like, well, if you give Xbox old PlayStation games that have already been played, then of course it's not going to sell well, because it's not new. Give them new games and see what happens. But that's just me. But at the end of the day, I think most PlayStation ponies are kind of dramatic, and they don't really understand the full wide scope of what's actually about to happen here. And I think that's actually kind of funny, because their brains are too freaking slow to understand it. But that's fine with me. But at the end of the day, I think that AMD and Windows and Microsoft all together is going to be one hell of a force to combine with, and I got to admit that that's going to be quite impressive to see. But overall, the future of Xbox is bright, and in the future it will include both Steam, AMD, Sony, and Nintendo. So this is going to be mad freaking funny. But we're getting there. We're getting there with Nintendo, but I think Nintendo has to come to realization sooner or later. Otherwise, they're going to be bye-bye. But we'll see. But depends how much people want to break the PS6 and the next Xbox. But that's beside the point. But at the end of the day, I think that the future of Xbox is going to be a really good thing, and I think everybody's going to have a lot more choice and a lot more availability and a lot more options. So I think that's going to be absolutely amazing. But we will definitely see this being announced by next year, and then we will see it released by the following year. So it is actually going to be, it might release sooner rather than intended, but we will see. But it all depends on what Phil Sarabond and the Microsoft team want to do. So we will see what happens. But I got to admit that it is actually pretty amazing to see what is going to happen next. And we get World of Warcraft on Game Pass, everybody. That's the other plus of Activision being bought. You know, Call of Duty was one, but World of Warcraft, that's the other. So, you know, there you go. So that's happening very soon at the end of June. So we will get those games pretty soon. So that's actually going to be happening pretty within the next 2 weeks. But, you know, that's going to be kind of funny because, you know, everybody's like, you know, World of Warcraft will never go on Xbox. And I'm going to be like, oh, go on Game Pass. It will. Trust me. But, you know, it's just like, you know, it's just funny. But, you know, people want to be living in denial for so long, fanboys. That's fine, but you know, the true hardcore gamers actually know what's going on and actually know what the future is about to hold. So that's actually going to be kind of funny when we're all prepared and you basically are all living in denial and don't want to basically, you know, dig deep into your pockets to upgrade. That's going to be mad funny, but you know, overall, I think this is going to be the next stage in evolution for Xbox and for Microsoft, Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. And I got to admit that this is going to be quite a future to unleash on the public, and I can't wait to see what they price it at. So I'm being optimistic, but we will see how much they price it for. But we will see. But overall, I got to admit that, you know, a PC hybrid console is, you know, what I've always wanted. I've always wanted a device that I can play all games, no matter what store they're from, on that device. I've always wanted that since I was a child in Windows 98 days. So I've always wanted that. But, you know, when the first Xbox came out, I had hope. Now I have even more hope, so it's even better. But, you know, and I got to admit, this Splitgate 2 free game is actually really, really fun. I just went 20-9, everybody. So yeah, that's this is what that match was about. I went 20-9. But, you know, this game is actually really fun. I already maxed out all my characters, so I'm basically just grinding for XP on weapons and stuff and doing challenges, and that's it. But this is Reaper. Like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Later.